All right, so we find ourselves in a class called Footprint. So what we're going to do is begin our position of our body so that our back is to the wall and our seat is facing towards us, our chair. So we're going to plant our feet in a wide stance at the very borders of your mat. Feel when you bend your knees and you let your hips hinge, as if you're about ready to prepare to receive something rather wide. I want you to get a feel where there's width with your foot pattern, kind of widening your feet, like you're trying to slide them and stretch them out into a larger shoe. Okay? And then as you tilt at your hips and you let your sitting bones touch to the wall, elongate your back and your arms to extend and widen through your palms. And then as you lower down your brain between your arms, let the spine center and let your mind take the first few moments to relax and receiving breath. So any little motions that feel like they are able to recuperate your back. So feel where your arms are resting into that spacious reach, where your brain is between your arms, and where your sitting bones might formulate a little bit more lift for the back of your legs. Pressing down into your feet, bending into your knees so that you fill up your footprint a little bit wider. And let's simply observe our breath. Let your eyes close. If the idea of observing is looking inside, feature that reach through your arms. And let your head nod a little bit side to side. Feel the weight of your feet, the weight of your seat into the wall. Yeah, that all the good things about a forward bend be felt. Okay, now start to work your way towards a forward bend that is a little more relaxing in the arms. So you might offer moving your feet in a little bit closer, perhaps to hips distance, and maybe slide your hands back on the edge of the chair so it's easier maintenance of the reach of the arms, right? You want to manage the pose. Okay, and then we'll start to move our hands to hold the sides of the chair. And then as you scoot your feet all the way to each other, reach your brain towards the chair so you're in a standing, kind of easeful stance, right? And the feet reach back to the heels, lifted slightly at the wall. And I'm going to propose that you start to move into a plank pose and you feel the plank moving forward and forward. Because you're a living body, you're not a plank. And then lengthen through that front beam of the waist. Yeah, if anything comes to necessity with movement, let's say you decide to step a foot forward or to release and move back to down dog again, that's fine. But we continue this pursuit of kind of firing up the front of the body. Okay. Now, as you come back into a plank, right, so you have the heels pressing back to the wall. Okay, now, loose spine. So I'm going to walk the feet forward about halfway towards the chair, step them out hips distance, and then hands on the top of the thighs, reach your seat back, not necessarily to touch the wall, but reach the seat back so the spine is lengthening. And then we'll push into the tops of the thighs and round the back into a cat shape. Inhale and exhale, ha, hips stretch back, arch the spine. So it's a cat-cow motion. Round the back, chin to chest, and arch the spine. Now try the inhale here when you're arching and you're pressing into your thighs. And then the exhale when you're rounding the back, chin to chest. Okay, last time, feeling that arch to the spine. Try to lift up the heart. And then as your knees soften, you're going to reach to the belt on your chair or wherever it is and come up to a simple stance, stepping the right foot up onto the seat. And then take that belt wide, grasp a hold, generous hold of the belt, and keep the spacing of the hands to open and open until your possibilities of moving your arms behind you open, behind your heart, wide and straight. Inhale, lift the belt, but see if you can make sure that the brain is still facing forward and move the belt forward and down to touch the right thigh. Okay, so it's just above the thigh. Inhale, up, overhead. It might just clear your brain. Maybe the belt will clear your brain, I'm not sure, but the motion of the belt just touches to the top of your head and the belly. Okay, so feel these suggested paths of stretching through the shoulders. You might go halfway up or all the way around. Okay, switch the leg stance. So I simply monitor my footprint on the opposite leg down. And I'm going to take the grasp of the belt a little closer in and just see how my arm reach feels across my chest. Not so much working on the detailing of my shoulders, but it is part of the stretch. So really emphasize when you move your arms up that you're opening across the chest channels into the armpits. And then you're moving back, forward, foot still onto the chair seat. Think about 2 more motions. Feel the reach of the arms. And feel that momentum of the arms moving back forward. Okay, we're going to drop the belt and we're going to turn around that we face to the wall, hands wide, and let's step back the same leg. So we'll reach the left foot back and the top of the foot aiming its experience down to the chair and the bottom of the foot, the footprint where it is open to air. So my left foot is fairly passive, right? My arm expression is comfortable, wrist comfort. And then feeling the pelvic tilt. So I want to encourage you to work your wave of awareness, see what percolates here in the front of the thigh, down through the band of the quad. And you could hook your toes under on your left foot. Kind of bend the knee, catch that feeling, toes under, and feel the pelvic tilt when your toes are under. Feel the footing. The standing leg is offering stability and resistance. I like to go back to the top of the foot resting on the chair and then get that feel of your hands, maybe slide down. Maybe you want to go farther up at the wall. And perhaps you want to move your right foot farther forwards. And this is partially about exploration. Right? So we want to work with balance, which isn't about, it isn't success or failure, it's about exploration. Right? So we're working on lengthening that left thigh for another few moments here. Try to feel the leg actually lengthening versus bending and kind of dropping out of the hip, so we're not hanging in the joint. So try to reach back, so the waist stretches. Now, feeling that hand structure moving up, the hands together moving up, feel the waist. And just like you do in an up dog, we're going to slide the hands down. So feel what's the appropriate height for you, where you're able to carve out some arch to the waist and the spine. Okay, so I let my head lift, let my eyes closed, maybe nod my head a little side to side, but certainly prep to change sides. So I'll slide the left foot down, and then as I get ready to switch sides, you might bend your knees and kind of wag your hips a little side to side. You know, kind of get a feel for when you stand upright, if there's any difference in that left and right thigh front. On the thigh front, here we go, right leg back, top of the foot down. Start with what's familiar, just a foot on the chair. And just a foot on a chair. My hands could go low, my hands could go wide. There is quite an offering here for where the arch in the spine supports our whole differences in our legs, and trying to work on how balancing our spine is felt oftentimes in these practices, but the legs or the right and left side feel quite dissimilar, right? So we're working on reach through the top of the right thigh. Okay, spend some energy with this as a bit of a puzzle. So I'm trying to lengthen my thigh, my right thigh, feeling the arch in my spine. You might hook your toes under on the right foot, give a feel of that with the arch of the spine. And you might take away that offering and work for a few moments on simply lengthening the top of the right thigh, not toes under, but reaching back. Breathing through the front line. Now, as we start to slide this right foot off of the chair, we're going to actually sit back into the chair and cross the right foot up into the left knee and start to lean our weight forward. So you could reach for your bolster. If you want to try to reach to the wall, be sure you're close enough with the chair to actually truly acquire a wall touch. So I like the bolster because it's actually accessible for me. So as I lean forward, feel that coordination moving from your hip flexor previously into your hip itself. So leaning and leaning. And maybe you come down with your brain centered of your arms. Try to stay with the energy of loosening up in the back frame. We were just in the front, so we're flipping it towards the back lines. At the left foot, you're feeling the footprint on the inside. See if you can use that bottom foot to push down and feel your body weight lean a little more forwards. Slowing down breath. Now, as we come up, you can leave the bolster tip to the wall if you're using that. And before you shift the side, let's work for a moment with uncross. Knees have a block between them. So I'm going to squeeze the block, and as I reach my hands back to the seat of the chair, feel the shoulders moving back. Yeah, let it be real simple, what you're holding on to. Feel the shoulders back, chest open. Now emphasize the chest open. If that tends to move up in the neck, you might have to purposely feel your chin gently tuck and really open through the collarbones. Feel that spread of influence. And now, as the hands slip from the chair seat, we change the leg cross, left foot, cross to right knee, and then block goes back down. Reach to the bolster or the wall, depending on your situation, how you're centered or settled towards the wall, depends on that position, how you're settled, your situation. So synchronize the awareness of leaning forward towards the bolster or wall, leaning. And if it's possible, to welcome the sensation in the left hip. And one way to kind of rattle out the tension or the holding patterns is to welcome them in. Noticing if you feel a deep sensation, if your breath is a part of your experience or if it sort of fades away. Go back to breathing slow. Try to stay reaching forwards. Okay, now as we move back to center, if you have that bolster there, move it aside. And then we're going to start to lift ourselves up. So we'll take the block between the knees. And I want you to squeeze into that block and feel where the weight is into the feet and arch the spine, right? So I'm lifting up in the arms, I'm reaching my thumbs back, okay? Stretch the left elbow up, bring the left hand to your upper back and bring the right hand to the left elbow tip and press that straight back. So feeling that tricep. Now switch the arm shape and position, right arm up, bring that right hand to the upper back of your right shoulder. Left hand touches the right elbow tip and we're pressing it back. So the emphasis might be for you, your footprint, right? So feel your footprint. Squeeze into the block. I also feel squeezing action in my tricep and in my core. Kind of like a tube of pressure. So it's all going to slide out in a moment. So when we bring the arms forward, reach to the wall. Okay, lean front. You're in chair pose. Okay. Well, let's make it a little bit more active. So I tend to bring my feet a little bit back so that I can use that momentum to tilt forward and come up. So I'm no longer sitting in the chair, but I feel like I'm about to. So try to let your body lean back. You can bring your hands to the wall. This is quite helpful to have a wall and to work on my leg strength. So I'm going to squeeze the block. I'm going to actually try to lean back a little further with my sitting bones towards the chair. Strengthen the muscles around the knees. Okay, reach for the block with any hand, and then as you place the block between both hands, lift up and turn so your back is at the wall and bring your elbows both to bending and the block touches to the wall. And my work here is very fundamental. I'm going to try to move away from that deeper arch in my spine Move my pelvis under, so I'm trying to stretch the front of the thighs basic as I can, which is not a lot, but I'm not arching my back, right? So no spine in a duck form, but more in a tucking. Okay. Feel how the block is at the wall now. There's only so far you need to go. Elbows towards each other. Okay, feel the feet. Okay, feel the weight in your feet. Close your eyes. Spend a few moments sorting out the 10 toes. Bend your knees. Try to feel the block slide down the wall a little bit. Elbows in. Try. Elbows in. That's the key. Is keep them in. Do you have an element? Okay. Now we lift up the block and we're going to lean forward. So we'll take our 2 blocks on the feet of the chair. They're tilted up. Step the right foot. So the whole bottom of that foot is on that block. And the left leg stretches back so that heel is at the wall, base of the wall. Okay. Hands can be on chair or elbows. They're both good. So as you feel your weight into your feet, notice the opportunity to press back into that left heel, reach through your torso. Okay, and you might decide to lower your elbows down to the seat after a few moments. It's a little intense for your calf, but it might be okay. Okay, center the length of your inhale forwards. And feel the exhale through the belly as if you're drawing your belly in and up. So you're not really hanging in that space. You're letting the belly space move with the breath. Like the core organs are taking a little bit of a stroll with each in and out breath. They're moving along. Okay, so feel where your hips are reaching back. And now as we move our hands down and our right foot under the chair seat, so it's no longer on the block. My feet are in 2 different tracks, so I have them both parallel. Left heel is at the base of the wall, hopefully almost all the way down. Turn right and see what happens when your waist starts to turn and then your right hand slips off the chair. Left hand remains on the chair so you actually can stabilize. And then lift the right arm to what works for you. Isn't that nice? You're in your own space. You have your home practice set up here. So your arm could be anywhere it wants to move. It could go back, behind your back. Your brain could look down to your chair. Okay? So regardless of any screen you're looking at, you might let your body explore this potential for core hip work. Yeah, that right hip reaches back. Yeah, it's cool to feel your footprint on the right side. Okay, and they're both interesting feet. They're fairly essential to do this practice. So when you lift up out of that right arm, see what it feels like when you don't have your arm to do the stretch. So you're working from the midsection. So I want you to turn so that your chest faces down. Inhale. Right arm around the back, kind of slunk around the back like it's I don't know what the word slunk means, but it's around the back, kind of draped. Slunky arm. All right, now as you turn to the right, rotate. And then turn back towards the chair. So take a few more of these, about 4. Keep the thigh on the right side pulling up, drop the kneecap. Try to create some movement style for your coordination. Okay, now when you spiral, yeah, your midsection has enough rotation that as you come back center, because you're not going to spin all the way around, right? You're going to turn right hand down, turn the left foot to rotate out, so the outer side of that left foot is against the wall. And my right heel is lined up with my left heel on the same line. And stretching up into this variation of triangle pose. Left arm up. Okay. Feel if you can build some momentum in this, which might mean you stay with your hand on the chair. And it might mean that you actually pick your body up and feel the motion of this cycle of standing sequence. So you could move this one a few times, alternate up, and then reaching down with the hand. Okay. So I get to feel some of my potential with hanging in the joint, which is not what I want to do. So I'm working with trying to pick up the kneecap on that right leg and stay with that draw. Now let's all meet with our hands on the chair seat. We're back to the seat. Pivot the back heel up at the wall, hands holding the chair on the sides, right foot steps back, come forward to your plank. Keep the shoulders sturdy here, holding you up. Okay. You could do some push-ups if you feel like it. You could work slowly at reaching the heart forward and then maybe lifting up your chest. Okay. So feel this variation of a front body lengthening shape. Okay, now bending the knees, scoop back on through. So the right heel is down and the left foot steps up onto the block. So if your block is set there, or move a block to the left base of the chair leg. And then elbows down or hands, make a hand print on the chair. Hand print class. That would be a handstand class, I think. So feeling the differences, maybe that's not part of your mental practice in this experience, but you might notice the awareness in the bones. Remember, elbows could go down anytime. If you feel kind of stuck in the input you're getting now, this might be just what you need. Take just what you need. Okay, now feature that anterior tilt, right? So feature that the back has the right amount of arch. Right? That is considered extension, right, of spine. So instead of rounding, right, we're trying to work with reaching. Right? You can kind of visualize like a gorilla roaming around, right? They have a nice amount of reach through their spine, okay? Really good power and sturdiness in the back. So as you move your left foot under the chair seat, we're going to practice revolving triangle pattern to the left. So my right heel is pressing down. It's really nicely pressed into the wall. Now as I rotate, it's revolving, right? So I turn to left. I'm going to practice feeling it for a little bit. It's up to you. If you decide, nah, I want to stay with my revolved triangle, and maybe that gives you a sense of purpose in the position. Left arm behind your back. Yeah, the turning position is pretty important to feel that your waist rotates. And if this feels like a relatively gentle twist for you, notice that. This can be your twist practice. Okay, now left arm is going to repeat that alternating pattern down. If you haven't experienced this yet, and open. Keep the left thigh very active, so the thigh skin is pulling up. And what might help for you to do that is to press down to the ball of the left foot and lift up the toes a little bit and really get that quadricep to kind of suck up towards the hip crease. Yeah, it may not be easy and easier to slouch in the thigh, but as you're in practice, let's practice. So left hand comes down to the seat, and I carefully turn. I'm going to kind of play with how the hip moves. So I feel my left knee in a micro bend. I swing my right hip back, and then I turn so the outer right foot is at the wall, left heel in line with the back heel. And then straighten out the left leg and lift up the right arm. Now, this is fairly activating practice here. So keep with the footprint. Notice that is something to kind of fall back into your thought sense, right? Where is my practice moving from? So feeling up into the right arm, it could go over the side of your face. You could certainly work on reaching up and play with that dynamic of the centerpiece of the body in its peak performance, even though you may not sense I'm in my peak performance moment. This is a good way to get to feeling like you're connected to your core. Right? Movements with temptation of strength, but you always have something to lean into, which is a wall, right, or a chair. We set you up for safety. Last time, good to know. Okay, now feel as your left hand is on the chair seat, you're going to go ahead and take an easy bend to that left knee. Okay, we're going to come up, and as we come up, let's turn to face the chair and bring the right foot up on top. Lower your hands to your hips. Feel where the wall is behind you with one hand, or two if you feel like that. Okay, so we want the wall to be distant enough away that we can use this to keep the arm straight-ish. So it looks to me as if I'm going to need my chair a tiny bit forwards. Okay, so I'm going to step my right foot back up, and when I turn to the right, my left hand is on my knee, my left hand is on my right knee. My right hand is, when it's back, it's reaching, and my thumb points up. All of these are options, right? If the variation with your hand print is causing any misery in your hand or your wrist, if there's any complications, go to what feels comfortable enough for you to purposely stretch open the chest. Okay, this might seem really casual of a twist. So I want you to keep that left hand on the outside of the right knee and feel when you press down to your left foot. Right, try to make yourself move up tall. Press down to that foot, so that hip actually lowers a little bit, doesn't it? And I want you to try to let the right hip descend and the left hip keep moving a little forwards. And then maybe you reach back at the wall a little farther, but careful with the chest turn, rotate. Breathe. Now, if you're dependent on the wall to keep you up, start to slide your fingers like you're going to kind of scrape the wall with your finger pads. Lean into that right thigh and hook the left elbow to the outside of the leg. Bring your hands together, palms gently press, left elbow to the outside of the right leg. Use that left foot to press down. Try to keep that left leg long. Yeah, it's kind of on a side angle almost, the left foot, isn't it? Okay, now as we lift back center, we're turning to the chair, arms up. Door one is here. We're in a simple lunge. Door 2, right foot to the left inner leg into tree pose. Open out the arms or bring the hands up, apart, or together at the heart. Okay. Yeah, this is quite interesting for balance. So you might find that your foot needs to go down. Okay. Good job. So change sides. If you get a little rattled from that in your hip, you might hold on to your hips, move them a little side to side, circle the hips, just a little bit of rotation. Not a whole lot, but get a feeling of kind of juicing up the hip. Feel movement. That sometimes feels very helpful. Okay, now when we switch sides, left foot lifts up. Right? I gotta get a little farther away from the wall, I think. Okay, so when I turn left, right hand to left outer leg, left hand back, thumb is up. Try to stay with the energy of the twist. Okay, feel where the energy is of the shoulder, the chest muscles open. I'm gonna go turn the sound off here. Keep with the energy of rotation. So feeling where your spine is in motion. It's pretty minor with as far as the intensity through the spine, column-wise. It might feel like your belly has a little interaction of pressure. So the idea is that we're working on that squeezing and soaking into the organs. So feel when you start to lean forward and the right elbow outside of that left knee, okay? Bring your hands to press and feeling when you press that response in the right side, the deep low back side of your waist, right? This QL, this side band. This is pretty neat to work on your standing twists. So if we get to side sage today, we'll feel really yummy in the waist to get that full layer of release. Okay, so when I bring my arms up, you might interlace your fingers and turn your palms towards the sky. And then move your left foot to the right inner leg and stand into a one-legged balance, tree pose. Okay, so I'm facing to the chair. I might be looking at a still point. Keep in mind, balance is not success, failure, right? It's an exploration. So if you kind of stumble out or if it feels uncomfortable, you need to step down, feel if you can explore the footprint and the movement up. Feeling, moving out, knee forward, lower down, and now we're going to release and reach to the chair seat and push it away. Getting this chair to go all different directions today. Step the left foot forward and the right foot up at the wall. So toes down with the right foot. Be sure your distancing from the wall is helping you experience your left standing hip, right? That standing hip actually receive that weight bearing. And so we're trying to receive weight into our hip, into the muscles, into the joint capsule. Okay, door one is here. We stay with the toes down. Those of you that want to stay here, maybe go to the elbows. Maybe that's better for you for strength right now. Those that want to go to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, we're going to turn the right foot open. We're going to keep the lift on that left inner leg, up, 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 all the way through the core, and then up with the right arm, straight up. So my foot is pushing into the wall. but the left leg gets the most work. So feel the reach through that right arm. Let's keep it real fundamental here. It's working on the anchor and the stability in your joints. So if you feel some fatigue starting to wear on you a little bit, lower the right hand down and try to keep the hip open. Try to stay with that energy for a few moments. Now, if I push my left inner thigh inwards towards the right, I find this kind of an interesting awareness in my spine. So I want you to try to keep that, manifest the left inner foot, the footprint, and then start to turn the right foot down. Okay, tuck the right knee in towards your forehead, chin to chest, tuck. Inhale, reach the right foot back. Now keep with the strength work here. I know it's a bit of endurance. One more time. Tuck the right knee in, chin to chest. Stabilizing your left leg, bring the right foot back. Change sides. Do any hip movements that you need to do in between. Maybe a very full Uttanasana with the chair is better for you, but remember that little arch in the back. Try to keep that without the belly dropping, right? See if you can, well, there might be some, but get a feel of like you're drawing in and up a little in your core. Breathing. Okay, right foot down, left leg back and up. Yeah, if it's different for you on the second side as far as resistance, and you need to bring your chair back tiny bit, that's interesting, right? How your range of motion and your stability differs. Differences. Okay. Yeah, monitor the variation here and notice so you can start some class notes. Okay. So as I start to reach my left foot open, turn it out, I'm working on the lines of energy. So my left arm picks up, and I'm certainly going to stay with the energy of keeping up the direction in the core. So try to feel where there's lines of energy and kind of like a zipper on the inner right thigh up, and it kind of pings all the way to the position right around the joint, to the pelvis, and then to your core, and then out through the left arm. So try to keep everything reaching open. Kind of like a starfish, right? So you're feeling that dynamic energy, and you got to stay with the stability in the base leg. But we all have this challenge where we'll let the right leg step out too much because it just is a lot of weight feeling in the right leg. But that's just what you need for building the bone, is the weight. So try to use your body weight on its own. Do your own weightlifting with yourself. Okay, now I'm going to stay with that right foot pressing and then turn. So left hand is down. Pivot that left foot so the toes face down. And then prepare here. So we'll tuck the left knee in towards the forehead. And then we'll reach that the left leg back up. Try to feel the full footprint. And then tuck that knee back in. Reach the left leg back up, push, last time, tuck back in. Now lower the foot and then lower down to your hands and knees, actually more your knees, okay. So we'll put a block on the chair. Now this is a shoulder chest opener, so be aware if you are nursing any injury in your shoulders, you might want to keep it very simple, not too much pressure with the block up. Okay. It's pretty generic though for most people. So when we bring our elbows to the seat, if you need a blanket on the chair or an extra cushion, this is a good time to get that. So my hands are on the sides of the wide block and I'm stretching the chest through. Well, it doesn't go very far, but I'm trying to stretch my triceps, just like we did at the wall earlier on. So my hands are merely holding a block. And I'm going to work my arms to stretch the block back towards my upper back. Okay. Notice if the spine really gets to drain down. Feel if you can lengthen the back like you're in a tabletop back shape. Feel the mild arch in the spine. Start to create a cat shape in your back. So feel if you can push down your elbows. Feel if you can start to round the back. Ooh, your block is probably up now. Now as you press down to your elbows and come up, let's very simply step the right foot to the top right side of your mat. Foot turns out, left thigh stretches down. You could put your hands on the sides of the chair so you're holding the arms. And then as you lean forward, let the left foot touch to the wall, but scoot your right foot farther out to the ability so that your left quadricep can lengthen down. And you might feel the reactionary pattern when the foot pushes into the wall. You might have to sort out where your arms can feature that they're stable for your shoulders. So your shoulders aren't up at your ears, but they're pressing down. And now when you move back, come back to neutral, so not all the way back, but as you slide and change sides, feel your left foot step out and feel where your right thigh band moves down. Right, the foot pressure is helpful. Feel the footprint or the parts of the foot that print. Feel the waist to the right front thigh. Yeah, if you like to kind of move the hip a little back and forth to kind of wrench into the joint, you might find that that creates sometimes poppiness. So we're not interested in popping it a lot. So feel where you can structurally stabilize these pieces. Yeah, even though there's more than pieces of you, right? We are kind of trying to be fundamental on the structure right now, with the heart behind it. So feel where that thigh lengthens down. This doesn't mean that you have to keep your elbows on the chair seat, right? Some people like to do these open lunges with the hands on the edge and feeling that intensity, so that's an option. And now there's places to go, right, in our hips. So let's slide the foot back and let's come to sit with our body facing to the wall. So I'm going to move my blankie distant enough from the wall that I can sit in a cross-legged pattern with my left leg crossed forward of the right. Okay. You might keep your blanket, move it closest to the chair. This is a guesstimate. So my left foot could touch the wall. I'm in a cross-legged position. I'm going to take a block and place it under the right leg. So my right leg is in a cross-legged pattern, left leg crossed forward. Okay. Sandbag on left thigh. Get out the sand. It's time. Time for some sandbags. All right. So reach to the wall and feel where you're leaning and the experience in that left hip. If I move down at the wall and I'm straight in front of my shoulders, or if I move up the wall, what feels better for your shoulders If neither feels good, maybe your hands are on the floor. You develop a connection to breathing and feeling a motion in the belly that's quite different than our standing set. We've done all standing work up till now. So as you come up and you're in your sitting bones, it's not so much a footprint now, right? It's a sitting print. So feel when you reach back to the legs of the chair, right? See if you can bring your hands back so the palms turn into the chair legs. You've got two legs on chair and you. And I'm working my shoulders back. Now, door number one will be stay here and breathe. That's the general direction in this class, right? Option two is right hand to left knee, left hand back on the chair seat, holding on to that side bar of the chair. I have the side arm there and I'm turning. They're both good, right? I find I continuously can work with my lower abdomen and my breathing pattern, my inhale, feeling the belly motion in. And then try to work with the inhale, belly out, exhale, belly in. So you can monitor the breath, either position, twisting or centering, opening chest. Okay, now let's let the body shapes be reasonably supported from the sitting bones versus the foot bones. So what we'll take is the movement forward, uncross, bring your block between your feet. One block is fine. My block is at its lowest setting. And I'm going to move my feet as close to the wall as I can bring them. Okay, so this is a rather reasonable exercise because this is a distance I can travel with my feet. But my back, right, has to figure out how to lengthen up. So I'm going to feel where my sitting shape is and reach my hands to the legs of the chair, open the chest. Okay, now if you're pulling your chair in, like it's just naturally something that you're needing to do because you're out of sorts, feel what it's like to move your hands a little higher on the legs of the chair. Shoulders back. Open chest. Okay, now bring the hands to the knees, or just below the knees is perfect. And encourage your feet to slide in as close as they'll reasonably go. And the feet are still on the block on the side, so my footprint is trying to move into the block. This ought to feel a little challenging, perhaps in your mid-back. So we're working on sitting tall. Take the block away, put one under each knee, and as the feet are now together, see how quickly they approach each other when the block is gone. See if you can lift up through the centerpiece of the body, reach up through your waist. Now try to let the legs rest into the blocks. Hold onto your ankles and lean forward, elbows on the legs. So the elbows press down, trying to reach in the torso. Torso reaching. And now as you come up, you still have that external rotation, the hips. Right leg slides forward or left, shin, right foot in front of left shin, block under left thigh. Okay, so I'm going to move my sand on over to my right thigh, and I'm going to reach to the wall with both hands. Okay, so Try to keep that emphasis of lengthening. This might not be the first answer you have with what are you doing? Are you lengthening? We're trying to reach from our tailbone to our brain bone, to the crown. And now as you push the wall, maybe you can lower your head center of your arms. That could feel really good. Hands push and reach, head center. Now as you lift up, you're going to turn right. Now some of us last time may have held the chair legs and open the chest. Some might be okay with right hand back on this chair and left hand to right knee and rotate. So feel where the energy lifts up and spirals through the ribs. Feel sensation of shoulder, upper back, really try to get a simple yet firm rotation here. Okay, breathing, exhaling. I guess breathing is exhaling. So when we let go of that grip, I want you to actually move the chair over to the side of your mat, off your mat. Okay, now we're going to turn forward, roll shouldered, motioning back. Okay, so these back frames are going to be on the floor. And let's do our bridge poses without a blanket under our head, okay? What I want you to do is uncross, move all the props off your mat, except your blankets behind your head, okay? So when you lower onto your back, I'm going to get as close as I can get to the wall. And then when I lower down, I'm going to maybe get closer. It's tempting to get that blanket in now, but let's get our spine a complete massage. That's certainly something that we could use as some kind of massage. So when I put my feet onto the wall, now the closer I am to the wall, the more massage I get in my spine. But you don't want to cram it up on the cervical vertebrae on your neck. So let's keep it simple. We have our block to maintain our structural equanimity here, or you could say equilibrium here in your hips. So bring your hands so that they're reaching overhead. Push into your feet and lift up your hips. Okay. Monitor how far you want to lift up. Now, if it's pretty good right now as you lift up to your maximum length through your spine, you might stay right there. You might need to get closer to the wall in the next few moments or farther away. And then lower your spine, massage the muscles besides the spinal column. So I like to feel that shift in the vertebrae. Feel if your very upper ribs are jamming, not like they're doing good, but they're tightening. So as you lower down, you're lengthening your spine. Get to the point where you're really pushing your feet into the wall and you're a tiny bit off the floor. Just a little itty bit, right? You can slide your hand under your pelvis and there's still a little space. That's about all you want. Okay. Stay there. Squeeze the block. Stay there. Okay. So pelvis is neutral. We're not trying to tuck it anymore or arch it anymore. We are working on pelvic floor tone. Squeeze the block. If you have one of those grippy balls, those are really good for this because they are responsive. Right? You actually get resistance a little deeper, right? When you can have something that actually squishes a little bit. Okay, now as you lower your spine all the way, it's only maybe 3 to 4 vertebrae, you might feel touched down, but as the base touches down, you feel kind of this wide swath of lumbars, the lumbars. Now, as you push into the wall, squeeze the block. Okay, arms forward and down besides your hips. Now we'll get into it. So if you feel like you're distance enough from the wall, stay with this. If you want to be farther away from the wall, if it was too much on your upper back, then move farther away. Okay, let's do a few drop bridges. So we'll go to a full 4. So as we lift up, we bring our arms overhead. We reach with our hips, and inhaling, and then exhale, lower the spine down. Yeah, feel all the way through, and no resistance on having to stop at one place. Keeping it in motion. Especially if you have a tendency to stop and ponder it. See if you can observe that pondering potential and keep it moving right now. Keep it moving. There'll be time to ponder. Keep it moving. Give it another 2. We're adding 1 on, I think. So I want you to work on that lift now. Your upper spine should be very safe. There's no crunching here. There might be some sounds that you hear or you notice, but at least the neck isn't getting pressure with a blanket. Okay, now as you come all the way down, you're going to bring your knees in, take the block out, and then push into your feet in the wall and lift your hips and tuck the block under the back of the pelvis. We're going to start to prep the spine so it understands the inversion options. The inversion versions. Okay, so arms are forward, palms are open. This version, get the shoulders back and down your back blades. Feel that pretty deep arch. Now, if your arch in your back is comfortable for you, you could do this with your block on the next level, right? You could turn it up to the next height. Let the legs stretch straight up. Now, if it's too mild of an inversion for you, bring your feet back to the wall. Push into the wall. Reach to the block, flip it up. And then try, take 2, palms open, shoulders back and in, and lift up. You'll feel that the shoulders move back and in easier if you have more arch on the spine. But if it's not comfy, don't do it. And feeling when you're at this level of inverting the body, that the legs really merge together. Rest the eyes from top to bottom. Open the heart. Primarily a focal point here at the belly, motion with the breath. Yeah, feel the setting that you're in right now. Feel the internal setting, moving to introversion. Yeah, it's challenging to get the belly to really bulge as much when you're upside down, right? You're the opposite of prolapse. So noticing how this feels in your core. Sometimes it feels really nice when you do a couple decent inversions in a session towards the end. Now when the skin, right, cells in the face feel a tiny bit of shift from practice, we're going to move our feet apart, and as they're starting to drain out, we're going to take a set where we do some circulation in our legs and spine. Okay, so let's bring our knees to bend, feet to wall, and push into the feet just the right amount. They're stepped apart. Feel when they're stepped apart, and feel when the weight moves to your upper back. And I want you to try to lift your hips and then slide the block aside. And as you lower your spine, integrate the pressure of your feet. And let's try to go almost immediately into feeling our back legs in this hinged hip frame. We're going to turn over. So we have our hands and knees on blanket, knees on blanket. Hands forward on blocks. I've got blocks under my palms. If you have something else besides blocks, you'll likely want a little bit of height for your spine to stretch. So when I hook under my toes and I lift up to down dog, my feet reach back so my heels are reaching to the base of the wall. And I'm really trying to get my hands as even as I can, both sides on my blocks, and I press back. It's essential that you're on a sticky mat with your blocks here. Okay. So when I press back, feel your hips reach back, feel your knees slightly bending, very micro bend. Okay, now keep the feet in that lift of the heels, like you're lifting, you're on the roots of your toes. Step your right foot between your hands and feel when you're kind of launched forward in that lunge. As you push back to reverse lunge, toes up on the right foot. Inhale, foot down, and feel the left heel back and start to mount up your support. So if you want to move your blocks up, you might do that. I put them up to the highest height so I have something to connect to when I lower. But as I move up, I'm going to stabilize my right heel under my knee and then come up into a high lunge. So lift up, see if you can feel the fold of your footprint or the pattern of your right footprint. Lift up your arms, reach through your ribs. I know that's a challenge because they could go out with your arms, they could go up. Stay with the energy of leaning down. Step the left foot forward. Take a chair pose, block between the knees. Reach up so you have your hips stretching back. There was a chair once back there, but as we're here, we're bending the knees. We're going to move the block to the next level, the next setting wide. Feet have to go out, I have a feeling. I want you to try to approach that reach. Feel the knees bending, the hips stretching back. Arms reach open, interlace your fingers behind your back, stretch your chest. Instead of emphasizing the arch in the spine, emphasize the leg strength. Open. Okay, dangle your arms. Move the block. Set yourself into a forward fold like you have a bar at the top of the thighs and you're trying to reach over that. So you create that natural hinge. Move your blocks as far forward as they can go. Now, if this doesn't work for your hamstrings and they're certainly talking to you, you can use your chair seat under your hands. So it's probably reasonably easy to get in the chair right now. So I could be here. So find what works for you, blocks or a chair, and balance your weight. Now you can either be in a structural strength here, or you could fold and dangle, hold your elbows, give a few moments here to fully stretch. Breathing, spine drains out. Weight of your head stretches your spine. Hands on blocks or chair seat, step that right foot back, keep the high lunge marker. So my left foot pressing down from my knee. I start simple and then I graduate up. Yeah, let this be kind of our final footprint here. So feel where your back thigh lengthens, your quad, and making that reach from your right side of your chest, stretching back through the thigh, extending through the lunge. Keep it very simple, but rooted. Yeah, if you feel like you're moving around quite a bit, remember, balance is not success or failure, right? It's exploration. It might be standing upright, it might be rocking a little side to side. I guess we should encourage dropping off of this, but work your heel back, and then as you lean back forwards, lower knee, lower back, and then let's take a side sage. So we're going to move our bolster. Hooray! Good clap. Side sage. Okay. So we can do a couple options. You can place your blanket a little away from the wall so you have your right leg to stretch back, so you've got reach through the thigh. And you might want to keep it real simple. You lean, you put a sandbag on the exterior right hip or the waist and stretch your right arm over. If you prefer to have something on the inside of the right knee to prop up the knee and hip joint, you could do that. Yeah, the blanket's kind of nice under my hip, I have to admit. I'm going to go with arm behind my back and emphasize this sand. So it gets a feel. Yeah, maybe to your hip it will feel nice too. The waistband, the hand could be down on the floor, it could be reaching, it could be behind you. Wherever it arrives is fine. Yeah, feeling the body start to come around to witnessing your breath again. Active shapes today. Receiving, rebuilding. And even noticing how the mind was able to focus in your body after a fairly specific type of practice. Now, if you want to move that upper arm at all before we move to the next side, you might move it, you might keep it simple, let it find its way towards the sandbag. And when I shift the sides, you might take it so you roll to your back and actually feel the bolster under it. It might feel a little lopsided. It's not the bolster, it's you, right? So you're trying to work on your symmetry. The props are usually pretty balanced. Now change sides, so feel that you need to use your hip joint, your structure to lean into that right side body. And if I use something on the inside of my knee, it's usually a block or a ball, and I place it so it props up my leg. Now, if there's any worry about your knee joint or your hip joint structurally, I would do something. Okay. It's always better to be safe than sorry on this one. So we've got that length, and if your right arm is feeling a little bit of difficulty, you can change your bolster so it's across the mat horizontal, not lengthwise. So those of you that want to fall into this shape, fall into this shape. And if you're not so sure about your modifications, you could turn your bolster across, get a block or a blanket on the other side. Yeah, it works pretty good even with a block. Sometimes bare props is okay. So you can still do it. I would say we use little props even in this class. We use plenty. Okay, feel the length, feel the reach to the side. Vertebral, right? Think about that intercostals as vertebral, right? They're each connected to a vertebrae, each rib connected to the thoracic. That's pretty interesting, right? It goes all the way to the collarbones. Okay, now with a few more moments, you decide if you're going to move your upper arm open, down to casual, or featuring length. What you want to feel so that your body can naturally feel. It's good to have ability to feel. Now get the most sculpted breath you can before returning the circulation to your heart. So you actually feel your skin stretch, you feel the body reach. And now we'll take it full circle into our final pose. So I'm going to have you move your sand aside. And we'll rotate and scoop the knees in. And then move our bolster to the base of the wall. Okay, so all I need is my bolster. Or you can use 2 blankets for this too. You know, you can use 1 or 2 at the base of the wall. You don't have to follow this format. Okay. So, I can make you follow the format. So you're going to sit with your tush at the wall, and you're sitting on the side of the bolster or blankets. You got a blanket or towel that's distant away from you, about a quarter of the way back on the mat towards the other side. And I want you to try to swing the legs up the wall. So I try to purposely sit at the wall, which is tough. It's tough to sit at a wall. And then squeeze in the core, and then you're going to roll up. Now, if you roll over to the other side, have a laugh and try it again. Okay. Situate your sitting bones up to the wall, feeling your waistband stretch. So you want to feel that bolster supporting your pelvi. And then if you would like to add a sandbag to your soles, add it. Okay. Sand can go virtual. Okay. It can go virtually anywhere. It can go sandy feet, sandy belly, and sandy ribs. You could have it in all those areas. If you have multiple bags of rice or sand, you could add them on. And feel a micro bend of the knees. And the situation in the back body draining out into the front body, and then let your arms open out to cactus or straight out to the side, whatever feels right for you. Feel the throat rebound and feel a natural rhythm of circulation at the base of the throat and the thyroid. And when you breathe in, let your eyes close from top to bottom. Feel the belly lift. And when you exhale, feel the belly squeeze towards the back. Now, coming full circle into this experience of inversion. If you have any specs on, you'll take them off. If you have an eye pillow, layer that over the eyes and let the mind relax and receive the benefits from reversing the effects of gravity in an ultra positive way in the body. This really lights up the brain, relaxes the skin cells of the face. You might be in this position for the next minute. You might stay here for the next 15 minutes, even past the class. Goodbye. You're welcome to really set yourself up for receiving the most benefit from your practice if your final pose has some time in it. Remove the blood from the extremities, from your feet, all the way to the vital organs. Seems like it's not that far, but it takes time to travel internally and to really reset. Receive your breath through the nose. Empty the lungs through the mouth. Feel the tailbone press into the bolster. Now I'll start to guide us out of the shape, and if you want to stay in the shape for past the class time, that is fine. You can stay with it. That's fine. It feels pretty healthful if you can get some time in this inversion. And in practice, you might start to add a blanket and another blanket so you get pretty high up with your hips. Some people use a chair to create a chair shoulder stand. The best that we can do, right, for our internal atmosphere is to turn ourselves upside down. So if your life feels turned upside down, your brain, this is a good one to mirror that. Okay, now let's flex the feet if they haven't already flexed. I think they are. Bend your knees and feel the leg press. You might do a couple of leg presses just to get yourself back into the mood of being on your feet again. Okay, a great thing to do. Feel the legs press into the ribs so you feel a stretch into the rib cage. Breathe, use that resistance of the legs towards your ribs. And as the legs move the sand either overhead or you carefully slide it away, we feel the compilation of the legs bending in, and then we roll to the side. Yeah, you might roll side to side for a few moments, really feel the back energy ring side to side, and as you are wrung out, all run out and rinse, clean, come to a simple seated position with me. Those of you staying at the wall, we honor you. Take a moment to honor your commitment to practice. Let the hands move in unity in front of the heart. Namaste means I honor the place in you of love, of light, of truth, and of peace. So breathing into that space behind the heart, inhale, spines up, and exhale, bowing into your heart. In gratitude, namaste.